Welcome to the Town of Peterborough Select Board meeting for September 1st, 2020. This evening, I'm Tyler Ward. I'll be chairing the meeting this evening. With me is fellow former almost Select Board member Karen Hatcher and fellow Select Board member Bill Taylor. We also have Town Administrator Rodney Bartlett and Deputy Town Administrator Nicole McStay. Our items on the agenda this evening will be to discuss the resignation of Select Board member Karen Hatcher. And we'll also discuss the appointment of an interim Select Board member. Under old business, we'll follow up on the discussion about Evans Flats, where we heard from the Affordable Housing Subcommittee of the Economic Development Authority a few meetings back. And then we'll review and approve some minutes from Select Board meetings of June 23rd, July 7th, and August 4th of this year. And then under other business, we have Rodney Bartlett with a few items to discuss, including what times we'll man the primary election as Select Board members. We all have to be there at certain times. So with that, our first item on the agenda. Oh, and I should also mention, you're catching us on Facebook. You're lucky. Unfortunately, Ustream is unavailable this evening, as well as Comcast Channel 22. We're major technical difficulties, awaiting software and that sort of thing to get those two up and running. But as you noticed last night, we had difficulty getting this meeting going, and at least tonight, hopefully you're seeing us on Facebook. And this will be recorded and archived for later viewing, and then also uploaded to Ustream when that's available on our town website. All right. With that, Karen, you would like to actually officially tender your resignation?
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. What I'd like to do is read my official letter of resignation. For those who have not been following the newspaper or Facebook, I just want to officially read what I've written to the board. So I'll do that.
Thanks.
Great. Okay, great. This letter is dated August 18th to Tyler Ward, Chair, and Bill Taylor, member of the Peterborough Select Board. Dear Tyler and Bill, I'm writing to officially tender my resignation from the Peterborough Select Board effective Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. That's today. We all knew that my taking on the role of Community and Economic Development Coordinator alongside of my role on the Select Board would be a challenging balance. What we didn't and couldn't predict was the intensity and velocity of issues being presented that would consistently merge the two roles as they called on us to address them. Over the last several months, I have found it extremely difficult to navigate between the two in a way that honors my commitment to full transparency. Because the two roles have been so connected, I've also not been able to regularly find places in my life for essential breaks in the action, to recharge and recenter, to recapture my joy, so necessary to my balance as a human being and my effectiveness as a public servant. I have appreciated getting to work with and come to know each of you as people and committed members of this community. We have shared our humanity with a deep level of mutual respect and willingness to have hard conversations on issues that matter. Ours has been a true working Select Board, an experience I count as a gift in my life. I remain enthusiastically committed to the work of building a strong and resilient Peterborough, working with you as a member of the staff to help guide our town through the myriad challenges that never seem to end. I will also continue in my volunteer efforts with the Welcome Team, the nonprofit network, and the New Hampshire School Funding Fairness Project, and others that call me to service. I'm proud of the work we've done together, and prouder still to call you each my friend. Sincerely, Karen.
Well, I suppose though, as chair, I have to accept that resignation. Unfortunately, we did really discuss the two roles and your importance to the town. And I really didn't want to lose you as a select board member, but understood that the other role is so vital to what we're doing in town right now. So I understand your conundrum, and I do accept it. And I just want to say thank you so much for the commitment you've given to Peterborough and the time on the board. It's been a pleasure for me for sure. And I've learned a lot from you and look forward to continue working with you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Bill, anything?
Yeah, yeah, I echo those feelings, and I think recognizing and, you know, stepping down from the select board is probably one of the most honorable things I've ever seen somebody do. Like really taking one for the team, and I could appreciate it no end. And I'm real sad to see you go too. Real sad. We had quite a gig going there for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Well, thanks, Karen. I'm sure you'll see Rodney and Nicole around. So
I'm sure I'll see all of you around for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, our next, obviously, the next step is for the remaining select board members to appoint an interim board member. And so when we received Karen's letter of resignation, we thought about the current conditions with the pandemic and its challenges. We did receive some great recommendations to fill the position, but considering that the process to put out a call to interested citizens could be lengthy, we do have a budget season coming up on us quickly where we'll see obstacles relating to revenue shortfalls, no doubt. This job is quite a commitment with the weekly operations of the town and the various liaison duties that we all carry as well. Not to mention the unforeseen issues that arise like the COVID-19 virus and the challenges of supporting town admin in their duties with the daily issues that do arise. It really takes a good year to get in the groove and get a handle on this, on what a select board member does. I know I had a bit of a learning curve when I first started, and that was after having, you know, participated in our town government for some time before. So with that, we discussed this with town council, and we have decided to ask a former board member to join us for the next 8 months, figuring it should be up to you, everybody who's watching, and tell your friends, the voters, to elect someone new at town meeting in May, if you so choose. We felt that that should be put in your hands and not ours to select somebody new. In the meantime, we'd like to encourage anyone that is interested in running for the board to attend as many meetings as possible, read up on the minutes for the meetings for the last year or two, just to get an idea of what's been happening if you haven't seen it all. Join the budgeting process this fall for sure. It's pretty in-depth. You learn everything about each department and what they're up to and what they're spending money on. And get to know town administration. And then get your campaign hat on and get out and hit the pavement, and we'll get together with one of you in May. So with that, I'd like to nominate, and he actually said yes when we called him. I'd like to nominate Ed Youngst back to the select board for an interim position.
I enthusiastically second that.
All right. Since we've already made up our decision on this, and we did discuss it quite a bit, we've thought about it. It's been on all our minds since Karen sent that letter. We're not going to be taking any questions or comments this evening regarding this. We'll have plenty to talk about it in the coming future. We do thank everyone for. Oh, do I have an all in favor on that vote? Aye. All right, had to get that officially out of the way. So thanks everybody for the support and the guidance that we get from you, and the great recommendations we've heard on this. It's a tough job, and Ed's certainly been very capable in the past. I worked with him for 3 years, and I think we can carry on with the good things for our town. Anything to add, Rodney or Nicole? Or
No, just that we look forward to working with Ed again as much as you do.
I think he's a great choice.
I also think that it's a great choice.
yeah, and he said yes. I mean, he knows what we're up against, and yeah, admirably said yes. All right, moving on to old business. We have the follow-up on Evans Flats discussion, the proposal for affordable housing complex that we had heard about. Nicole, are you going to explain what our next steps are, or Rodney?
Sure, I'm happy to explain that. So you did hear a proposal or an idea that was put together by volunteers. It had raised some very interesting possibilities for Evans Flats. Of course, Evans Flats has been studied many times over the past couple decades at this point, as far as how it can be best used or reused. That site, currently the buildable site at the end of Evans Roads, there's two pieces of town land called Evans Flats. There's the piece that the highway garage occupies, and then it goes across a little bit of a wetlands, and then there's another upland piece at the end of Evans Roads. That is the piece that we're currently talking about. To do anything there, the selectmen will need to consider whether or not they would like to pursue selling that property or utilizing it. If the selectmen choose to sell it, they'll need to follow RSA 4114A, which outlines the process. They'll need to consult with the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board before holding 2 public hearings on whether or not to sell the town-owned land. Typically, when the select board has done something like this, selling a piece of town-owned property, they've done one of 3 things. They've either put it out on the open market, they've put it up for auction, or they have done a request for proposal process, which is a more long, drawn-out public process whereby people are able to contribute their ideas to the select board for consideration. Most recently, we did this with the GAR Hall, and of course that yielded some fantastic results. We have a lot going on right now, in addition, of course, to the COVID-19 and everything that we've just talked about, starting the budget process. We also have a very busy presidential election coming up in November. So what we would recommend is that if the board would like to consider Evans Flats, that we take up that conversation later this fall, either just before or just after the presidential elections, to give us all a little bit of time to clear some of the business off our plates before we take up something big like this.
Probably nothing new will get on our plates, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that suggestion. I think the need for affordable housing is today. So I mean, I don't have a problem addressing that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and actually the affordable housing issue has been going on for decades. So, at least this is an interesting proposal, and we're moving towards something. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to take up when we do get to it. Looking forward to that. I did neglect to mention. Did I mention under other business? We'll or at the end of our meeting, the select board will have to go into a non-public session due to RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, parentheses C, and that topic is reputation. Now, and also on our agenda, we have quite a consent agenda list of correspondence, and there's too much to read. If we were to read one, we'd have to read them all, and all that information is available by clicking on the packet on the link, and please do read all the correspondence we have received lately and our efforts to address those issues. Up next, has anybody read the select board minutes from June 23rd, July 7th, and August 4th?
Yes, I've
I
read
read
them
them, and I was there.
Me too.
as well. Make a motion to accept all 3 of those minutes.
Second?
There's a second. Excellent. Sure. And all in favor on that?
Aye.
Yeah. Thank you, Ally, for taking those great minutes. We missed out on, I think, was it the June 23rd approvals last meeting when half of our Wi-Fi went off and we disappeared into the ether.
Power outage or whatever that was that night.
That's right.
Something.
That was a pretty insane little storm.
Right. Okay. Moving on to other business. Hopefully we still have some viewers watching. Rodney, what do you have for us?
The first item is to talk about coverage by the select board for the primary next week.
Right.
We have talked, Tyler, that would take the 3rd shift, Bill in the middle of the day, and we will approach Selectman Yangst tomorrow morning to see if he's interested in covering the first section for next Tuesday.
All right. Sounds good.
I have offered to back him up if he cannot do that.
He will appreciate that.
That's great.
The second item is relative to the CARES Act and reimbursement of some expenses. Nicole, can you take us through those details?
Sure. So somewhat at the last minute this in August, I believe it was August 11th, the Secretary of State's office and Governor's office announced that they would be releasing CARES Act funds to reimburse towns for the additional cost of the elections this year, which is great. We're looking at Gail, for instance, who's our deputy town clerk, has essentially been 40 hours a week just processing absentee ballot requests and absentee ballots as they come in. We have received just shy of 1,000 absentee ballots for this upcoming state primary alone. It's not even counting what we've received for requests ahead of the general election in November. So it's been a lot of work. We will be able to be reimbursed for $17,100 out of that. However, there was a very quick turnaround on this particular grant application. The grant was announced on the 11th and it was due on the 28th. So Chairman Ward signed the grant and we were able to submit it on time. However, they are still expecting the selectmen to authorize the application for the grant, the CARES Act funds, and authorize Chairman Ward to make that application.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you say there was an edit to it? So I'll have to re-sign it.
Just that top page. Yeah, that
Right.
top page will need to be re-signed.
So we need a motion to authorize Chairman Ward to sign that grant application.
Yeah,
To
I'll
apply for
I'll
the-
probably make that motion, just in case there's some question about somebody that resigned or something being part of the meeting today.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
So then I'll second it to
Yeah.
cover that too. Okay. All in favor?
I'm still here, you know.
We see you, Karen.
I'm still here.
Sorry, Ronnie, before you get into the next topic, I almost forgot. We did receive an email from Glo Morrison over at the food pantry with some updates there. People are still in need, obviously, and we're still within this pandemic. She wanted to let everyone know that the hours at the food pantry are remaining the same for now. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to noon. Additionally, they are debating about having Saturday morning hours by appointment only in the next few weeks. They found that people who work Monday through Friday need alternative times, so stay tuned about that. They're also beginning to think about the holidays and accepting in-kind donations of food again. All summer, they've had a large selection of produce that is continuing to roll in. In the last couple of weeks, they've seen an increase in customers as stimulus checks run out and unemployment benefits cease. So if you do need to make it over there, we have that great entity in our town. All right,
Also, money goes 3 times further than a food donation.
good point.
And it's a lot easier for somebody to drop off, say, a gift card, or even if you wrote a check, it's better because they can buy and source stuff on their own, which is way cheaper than, any of us could do it. So
Right. Great.
thanks, Glo.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Ms. Lowe.
Okay, Rodney.
The last topic, this deals specifically with the town clerk's office. Earlier this summer, I received a number of complaints from town employees regarding the town clerk's conduct towards members of the staff and the public. As I was witness to one of the events, and that was related in the complaints, I determined that the matter needed to be investigated by an outside independent third party. The third-party investigation is complete, and I am now conveying the report of the investigator's finding to the select board, and it will be emailed to you shortly. The investigation was focused upon conduct of an elected official and the impact of the alleged conduct upon employees and members of the public. Because the town clerk is an elected official and not an employee of the town, it is necessary to bring these findings to the select board at some time in the future into a public meeting.
Thank you, Rodney. The select board will need to review this report and before determining what next steps will be. We'll not have any discussion on the matter this evening and will not be taking any questions on the matter either. So we'll look at that report and get back to you on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Rodney. Any other information, goings on in town that we need to be aware of? No?
We're ready to move into non-public.
All right. I do want to just give an update on the bridge. I see they're halfway through jackhammering the thing in half, and my wife has been feeling it in the house shaking all week. So there's that. Okay. Right now.
Before we go, I just want to also just mention that we've done some outreach to our restaurants, and I just want to, if folks don't know, Cooper's Hill is going to be closed for several weeks due to a pipe that burst above the restaurant.
Right.
That's really unfortunate. Things were starting to go better there with COVID and all. So it's unfortunate, but I just wanted to let them know we're thinking about them, and any help that the town can offer to help them get up and running again, certainly want to offer.
Great. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to enter non-public session due to RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, parentheses C, reputation. C is in.
Before I second that motion, just one more shout out to Karen. Thank you so much for everything that you did and will continue to do.
Okay, you're welcome. I'll see you. I'll be seeing you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye for now.
I second that motion.
Second. All right. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again soon.
Okay.